What I'm about to show you is literally an apocalypse. But nothing happened. The word apocalypse just means uncovering or unveiling. That's why the English translation is revelation or revealing. So next time you take off your clothes for your man, just know that you're apocalypsing your own body. This is how revelation is structured. You've got 7 seals broken in order. The 7th one unlocks 7 trumpets. The first 4 are blown at the same time. Then 5, 6, 7. That unlocks 7 vials of wrath. Here's what the symbolism of the seals, trumpets, and vials in Revelation refer to. Seals represent controversial mysteries. That's why they're sealed up. Trumpets represent blatant warnings. That's why it's a trumpet. And that represents 4 horsemen of the apocalypse are never called the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. They just show up in order. They're riders riding different colored horses. White, red, black. And this one's usually translated pale, but the word chloros actually means green. Instead of calling it the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, I think we should call it the 4 powers of the satanic conspiracy, because these all work together and they unfold over time. First, you've got the White Rider in the year 300. That's Constantine the Great. He establishes the papacy, which is satanic. It's about spiritual world conquest. Then you've got, in the year 800, Charlemagne the Great, who conquers Europe and has the military world conquest with the establishment of the cardinal system. They always wear red, the papacy always wears white. Jesuits always wear black. They control the economic and intellectual around the year 1500 or whenever they were created around that time. The 4th one is more mysterious. We're going to get into that because that's actually a current day thing. The rise of the green priesthood that is about population reduction and earth worship. We're going to explain that next. So the 4th horseman is green. Chloros means green. You can look that up yourself. That's a Greek word. The word chlorine comes from that word because chlorine is bright green if it's in a super concentrated form. You can Google that too. 3 other times the word chloros is used in the New Testament. Each time it's for something very clearly green, like grass and trees. So that is written, the rider is called a death, and he can kill 1/4 of the world population. Now, the green priesthood that we are seeing today is obsessed with what? Population reduction. We're talking about Bill Gates. We're talking about the people who want the world's population numbers to go down. That's death. That's purging. That's genocide. They are preaching it as a gospel of today, that we should have massive death in order to have world salvation. That's the 4th rider.
This guy is Constantine the Great. He was a Roman general around the year 300. He believed he saw a vision in the sky of a cross that said underneath, "With this sign you will conquer." Now, that conquest led him to take over the pagan temples in Rome and put the sign of the cross in them. And he believed he was a Christian, although he never heard the gospel and was never properly evangelized. Instead, he believed the cross was the symbol of some new god he had encountered, and he had to be told later that it was Christian symbolism. But for the Romans, the symbol of the cross was not Christian symbolism. It was a symbol of Roman power to crucify people who disobeyed them. So he essentially crucified the pagan gods with the cross, and that's how the Catholic Church was born.
This guy is Charlemagne the Great. He created what was known as the Holy Roman Empire by conquering a bunch of territory on behalf of the Pope. Now, the way that happened was interesting because the Pope came to him desperate, running for his life, and saying that God had shown him that Charlemagne the Great was chosen to be Charles, the most serene Augustus, crowned by God, great and pacific emperor, governing the Roman Empire. That was what this dude called himself. Can you believe that? This dude got tricked by the Pope into conquering the known world. This led to an extremely dark age. It's called the Dark Ages. This is Ignatius Loyola. He was a Spanish nobleman during the time of the Inquisition. During the 1500s, there was a lot of interesting stuff going on in Europe. The Age of Sail had brought in a lot of mysticism and forbidden knowledge that the Inquisition was struggling to keep a lid on. Ignatius Loyola belonged to a Spanish secret society known as Los Alumbrados, which translates into the Illuminated. Los Alumbrados was obsessed with sex, magic, and the forbidden knowledge of the Kabbalah. During one battle, Ignatius Loyola was hit by a cannonball in the leg. That's when the Inquisition found him and asked him about his secret society. He demanded to see the Pope, and during the visit with the Pope, he agreed to use all of the resources of Los Alumbrados to help the Vatican against the Protestants in the coming movement. The Pope agreed, and he created the Society of Jesus, or the Jesuit. They helped torture, kill, and rob millions of innocent Christians who were questioning the Pope.
God. They're killing us down there. They're killing us on Earth. They don't care anymore. They're just doing it. Yeah, hey, welcome to heaven. You're gonna have to wait over there under that giant altar for a while. And welcome to heaven. And you get to have this nice white robe while you wait. And while you're waiting, all of the rest of the brothers and sisters back on Earth that are being killed, they're gonna have to finish being killed before I'm gonna do anything about the whole killing the church situation. And that's the fifth seal of Revelation.
The sixth seal of Revelation is one of my favorites. Now, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but a bunch of scary stuff starts to happen, and then all of the world's elite go and hide under mountains. Now, if you're not aware, this is literally what billionaires are doing today. Look at that. They have 5,000 person shelters. These bunkers have escape tunnels, hidden doors, bulletproof glass, and pepper spray portals to ward off intruders in case you want to get in. Oh, that's just one or two people. No, how about 50% of Silicon Valley billionaires have already purchased some kind of apocalypse insurance, like a safe room bunker or overseas escape? The reason I refer to the sixth seal as the prank apocalypse is because people pay attention to the fact that it says the great day of their wrath is come and who is able to stand. But what they don't pay attention to is, that's just what these evil people say. God doesn't say it. So let's recap a little bit. The seals are controversial mysteries. They start with the four powers of the satanic conspiracy. These powers have corresponding colors and powers that are described, and they all relate back to the Catholic Church. But it's not just the Catholic Church. It's a worldwide conspiracy that they're just sort of at the heart of, and they can kickstart the whole thing. Then, after death, the green priesthood that we're seeing today with the New World Order, earth worship, death cult, then you have the confusion of the martyrs, which is all about the martyrs being in heaven, not understanding why God isn't taking vengeance, because people believe in a rapture, but there's not going to be a rapture for us. That comes later on. Then God starts to terrorize the evil people, and they hide under the mountains, but it's not actually the day of judgment yet. We'll get to these guys next. After the satanic conspiracy has killed the church and reached its full power, God wants to avenge them and judge the earth. But before he can do that, he needs to set apart a certain remnant of Israel so that he can have them be witnesses to what happens on earth as the judgments start to happen. Meanwhile, in heaven, we see all of the martyrs, a great multitude from every nation, praising God. So even when we die, it's not going to be that sad. And if you're not sure about that, an angel actually tells John that they are the ones that came out of great tribulation. Those 144,000 Israelites become sort of the new characters, the new protagonists of the story after the church is killed. We're up in heaven, but they're back down on earth, specially protected from a lot of the craziest punishments the rest of humanity are going to have to suffer. The seventh seal actually unlocks the trumpets. The 7 trumpets are only handed out after the seventh seal is broken, which means you can't interchange any of the trumpets with the seals like most Bible teachers try to do. I wish Bible scholars would pay attention to the fact that trumpets are different than seals. Seals are about hiding information, protecting them. It's a wax signet to show that something's official, but also hidden. And a trumpet is about blatantly warning the world. Okay, so let's talk about the golden censer event. The first 4 trumpets all revolve around the same event. The 7th seal unlocks the trumpets. Angels get the trumpets in order to warn the world what's going to happen because they killed the church. So an angel goes to the altar. Remember that the martyrs were placed under the altar in the fifth seal already. Those martyrs, if you remember, wanted God to avenge them and destroy the evil on the earth. Now, that golden censer is filled up with the incense of their prayers. The angel then takes that censer filled with that vengeful prayer and throws it to the earth. Next, we're going to talk about how that directly leads into the 7 trumpet events, because it's major foreshadowing.